or you've got other meetings and things to go to. So welcome and thank you very much for coming along today. My name is Caroline Healy and I'm the CEO of We Are Savvy. We have designed some short and sharp 30-minute webinars that are specifically for insurance brokers to support them with marketing and understanding and the concept of marketing, and also using these concepts in helping to grow your brokerage businesses. As before we sort of jump right in, you'll be hearing from me today. So I can claim as working in 15 years in insurance marketing, that I'm an insurance marketing expert. And that's probably because there's not a lot of other insurance marketers out there, but I have worked across a number of underwriters, and we've worked with brokers in our time. So CGU, Community Broker Network, Ansvar, Oracle Group, to name a few of our insurance connections and clients over the years. We're a small team of experts. Marco, who's on our call today, is our content social media guru and creator. And we have Marika, who is a fantastic researcher, which is really key in marketing. To make sure that your marketing is successful, you do need to do that research up front. Today, we're talking about the 3 components of a successful insurance marketing strategy. Now, if you're going to invest time in a strategy for your marketing, which I highly recommend you do, you want it to be successful. And so today I'm sharing with you, I suppose, my 3 lessons and the things that I really encourage our clients to do when we're thinking about insurance and insurance marketing particularly. And it's around profiling your audience's brand differentiation and using an integrated multi-channel approach. So as we, start having this conversation and I share the information with you, I wanted to share some definitions here, and you might throw into the chat if you've got any thoughts around what do these definitions miss? Because looking at these definitions, for me, I think that marketing has evolved, and what's happened is the definitions of what a marketing strategy have not evolved alongside the practice of marketing. So I think, if you've got any ideas, please pop them in the chat around what these definitions miss. The first one that I would say is it really talks to consumers or clients or customers, whatever you would like to call them, which is great. A marketing strategy should absolutely be thinking about consumers and customers, but you really need to think not about just prospective customers, but current customers and building loyalty, but also your other audiences. There are lots of other audiences that your marketing strategy should address and that you should consider as part of your marketing strategy. So really, and I'll go into a bit more detail on that shortly. Also, as I said, marketing as a function has evolved, and a marketing strategy should be about your marketing, your brand, and your communications. Also, customer experience. There is for smaller businesses, you're not necessarily going to have a customer experience strategy or so on. So thinking about, how your marketing and communications impacts your customer experience and is part of that customer experience is really important. And as I said, the brand, so thinking about things like your positioning and your messaging. So they are all key components and elements of a marketing strategy. And I think that, this is where the definitions of old don't quite stack up these days. So the first component that I wanted to talk with you about and share is really focusing on audience profiling. And as you can see, I've used the word audience and not customer. This is really important if you're wanting and when you're wanting to generate leads and also build loyalty. You need to really know and understand your different audience groups. So your customers as well as your potential customers. And you might have a couple of different segments that you're after and that you want to attract. So you might need 3 or 4 different profiles for those different customer and potential customer groups that represent your different segments. The other one for insurance brokers is referral partners. Insurance is very much still a referral business, and I speak to brokers all the time and they say, oh, I don't need marketing, all my business comes for referrals. And I would say, yes, but you also need to drive those referrals. You need to nurture those relationships, and keep continuously communicating with those people who refer you, so that they remember to refer you, and so that you're continuously top of mind for those. So your marketing strategy should also look at profiling your referrers and who are they there. And then the last group is employees. If you're looking to grow your business, if you're recruiting people, you've got to stand out against other industries out there, and other insurance businesses out there. So again, your employees, potential employees, but your current employees. Current employees are also the ones who demonstrate your brand. They deliver the customer experience. So it's really important that your employees are considered and profiled as part of your marketing strategy. And you might have some other stakeholders as well in other sectors that I work with. We have government stakeholders, for example. So you might have some other stakeholders that you want to consider as a profile audience group. So in profiling, what are you looking for, or what do you need to consider? For me, it is more than just demographics. So understanding their demographics is important, but really understanding their needs and their wants of those different audience groups. Understand who influences them, or what are the influences that happen in their decision making, the habits that they might undertake. Thinking about their price threshold, thinking about how much disposable income they may or may not have, if they value insurance, or what the value of insurance might be to them on their lifestyle, onto their business. So when you're profiling, I suppose try and go deep. And a lot of this might be, gut feel, because you've worked with different customer groups or segment types for a long period of time. You can do a lot of research online, a lot of desktop research. And I, like to encourage customers just to even do a short online survey with their current customers to understand what their current customers think of them. And why do we do this? Because really knowing these different audience groups, you can see what they have in common across the different audience groups. It helps you choose the right areas of focus within your marketing strategy. It also helps you choose what are the right channels to use, and those channels to be part of your marketing strategy. An example is, if you are targeting tradies, then we know that tradies are generally on Facebook. They do their own business on Facebook, and they're more likely to be on something like Facebook versus LinkedIn. Whereas if you're targeting accountants, then of course LinkedIn is a better platform. So understanding and profiling your different audience groups helps you also choose what channels to be on, because you shouldn't be on every channel, because that's effectively wasting time and resource and effort. So, that's why it's really important to think about these profiles. It'll help you shape your messaging, it'll help you choose your channels, and it'll help you choose your areas of focus. The second point of what I believe is part of a successful insurance marketing strategy is brand. And many marketing strategies might talk about positioning at a sort of high level, or key messages, or high level concepts. I really believe that thinking about your brand positioning is important, and it will help you stand out in what is a very, very crowded market. Positioning is around, what do you stand for as a business, and what's the unique value that you bring to customers or employees or other audience groups. It really is that perception. It is what people think about you, think about when they say your name. Hopefully for us, when people say we are savvy, they think insurance marketing, they think expertise, they think quality. They're the sorts of things that I want people to think about for our business and my business. With obviously that brand positioning, you bring that to life through personality. So that is also important, and that visual identity, the customer experience, and your marketing and your communications. So, in a market that is, largely homogenous, we have set price, set product. It's very hard to differentiate in insurance on those things. The brand is really one way that you can differentiate and really can help your brand to stand out. And it can be why customers choose you over other brokers or providers. Also, when you're doing a marketing strategy, the work that you do for a marketing strategy and a brand positioning, some of the steps are quite similar. So you can create efficiencies. The research phase for brand positioning and marketing strategy are quite similar. We would do a little bit more research from a brand positioning point of view, but you can actually create and have a lot of leveraging and efficiencies when you do both pieces of work at the same time. In addition about that brand positioning, it is the detail of your unique value proposition. So that list of things that you as a business do better or differently than other people in the market and other competitors. I mentioned before about the personality. You know, for us, we are bold. Our personality is red and pink and bright blue, and it is bold, stand out, and we use that personality. And so I integrate those colors and we integrate that personality through the tone and through the way we present and the information we provide and the look and feel, that we use as well, so that our brand can stand out against other marketing organizations and businesses. So that unique personality is important. And, I have been around the industry long enough to, see the slow change of, blue capital letter logos that are, being evolved over time, because businesses are realizing that they need to have a differentiation from a personality point of view. So thinking about how does your insurance business, shift its personality and create a personality that your profile, your audience profiles, might relate to and engage. Because insurance is that grudge purchase, we have to look for ways to engage our audiences emotionally as well. And this, of course, emotional connection helps to win business. Consumers, people, humans, you and I, we make decisions based on two things usually. One is a rational thought, and I need A, B, and C, and this service provides me A, B, and C. But there's also an emotional thought that comes into our decision-making process. And that emotional thought is really important. And the brand is the part that really, I suppose, brings that to life and shows that emotional connection. Finally, in part of the brand piece of work and consideration to think about is around that customer experience. So how do you deliver that exceptional, differentiated customer experience, that personalized experience? And thinking about those elements of your brand as part of your marketing strategy, they're the things that will really help you stand out and differentiate over a long term with clients. So the third point, or the third component of what contributes to a really successful insurance marketing strategy, in my mind, is around a multi-channeled and integrated approach. So when you're thinking about your strategy, thinking about what are the 3 or 4 areas of focus that you'll have, and what are the various channels that you will use to promote your message. And remember that marketing is about repetition. Again, people need to hear something probably around 6 times, 3 to 6 times before they, might take action. Sometimes you get lucky and it's the first time. I was lucky, we sent out our email out to our insurance database and someone called me the next day. It was perfect timing. I had reminded him of who we were and what we offered, and he had a need straight away there. But he already, did know who we were. So these things take time and they take repetition. So that's important. I think also this multi-channel talks to digital and traditional. Traditional might be merchandise events, radio advertising, competitions. Digital is just a new way that marketers use to sell an old version of something. And I hear insurance brokers say to me, "Oh no, I couldn't be on LinkedIn," or "No, that's not a great channel for us," or "That's not work," or "Someone's just trying to steal my staff if I'm on LinkedIn. And I think, it helps to shift that thinking and think about digital channels are really just that new way of presenting the same old thing. If you think back in the day, you might have had a shopfront window, and lots of retailers have gone online, different industries. They now have websites, and that's where people go to research, to find, to explore, to ask questions. Social media, if you think about Instagram or Facebook, it's that scrolling. We're looking at images, we're looking at headlines. It really is a new form of a magazine. EDMs or email newsletters, email direct mail is what EDM is. It's just a new way of sending mail, sort of there. So embracing those digital channels, but not forgetting the traditional channels is really important, because that customer service piece is part of your marketing. Those traditional channels where you might have more face-to-face activity, verbal conversation, and different touch points are still, really key and really important. And I think that they're important very much in an insurance, insurance perspective as well. I think when you're thinking about rules that apply, whether you're thinking about digital or traditional channels, work out where your audiences are and how they use a channel, and understand their habits to know if that is the right channel for you to engage and to use as well. The second component here is about the integration of all your marketing communications activities. And you see this all the time. You get an email from somebody and they say, click on the link, and takes you to the website, and then to the website you get an error page. The information's not connected. Or the website might be working and it says, call our customer service officer. So you call the customer service and you say, hi, I want to inquire about business insurance. And they're like, well, we don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? So, thinking about making sure that when you are creating your communications and your marketing, that all of the dots join and that you're thinking about that whole customer experience. So put yourself in that customer's shoes. If I'm a customer and I receive an SMS, what am I going to do next? Where am I going to look for more information? What's that progression that I'm going to take? If I call your offices, again, what's that journey that I'm going to take? What's the follow-up email that I expect? The more information that should be provided, and so on and so on. So it's really important that also it's not just it's sort of external marketing facing channels that are integrated and connected. So your email connecting to your website, connecting to your social media, but it is important that your employees are understand what marketing messages you're putting out, that they can respond to questions for customers, whether that means that they have a toolkit, talking points, or you just have a verbal briefing with them about what those things are. So in summarising our three components, really, from my 15 years experience in I suppose working in insurance marketing and creating insurance marketing strategies, this is very much the three areas that I would encourage you to spend the most time and effort on when thinking about your marketing strategy so that it can be successful. So knowing and profiling your audiences, really differentiating and working on your brand and incorporating that as part of your marketing strategy and the thoughts around that marketing strategy, and then building that multi-channel and integrated approach. So I am happy to take questions, and I'd encourage you to put some questions in the chat, or if anyone would like to come off mute and raise your hand or verbally ask a question, please do. And while you're just having a think of that, I see there's a question already, but I'll come to that. You can also get out your phone. We will be having a second webinar on the 5th of April, which is around marketing as an investment. So how do you make sure that your marketing is an investment? Because if you're going to do a marketing strategy, you also want to make sure that obviously everything you do is a wise investment. So I'm just going to refer to Andy's question. Thank you, Andy. Around perspectives on how to build trust online and the role of customer reviews for experts in referral businesses like insurance brokerages. So that's a great question. So Marco, who's on the call, would always be talking to me, and he talks to our clients continuously about social proof. And that's really important. So I think that, you know, brokers should be encouraging and asking customers to do things like provide a Google review, to ask them to share or tag, you know, their insurance broker online, you know, after they've had a great claims experience, and so on. And you could also be going out to your customers and asking them if they would provide you a quote that you can share on your website, you know, or include in a customer newsletter. The importance of, I suppose, that really is important to build that trust, because what people are doing is, so, you know, someone will refer, you know, a business to me, and I'll go, okay, I'll have a look at them, and I'll go to their website, and I will go and have a look at their social media channels, and I might have a look at their Google reviews. So having those things, you know, does build trust. It's that social proof that other people in the community are saying positive things about a certain business. So I think that that is important, and we do look at that as part of our marketing strategies and our social content and the social work that we do, because more and more people, and you know yourselves, you're going to buy, you know, a new car, or you're going to buy something, you're doing all of that research, and you go and actually have the conversation with the salesperson, armed with questions. You've got questions. I know some people get scared of, oh, we'll just say we get a bad review. Look, that happens. It then is about how you respond to that review. Obviously, if it's rude and offensive, you know, you've got the ability to remove it. But it's also about, you know, going back to that person and responding in a professional way. And people will look at that. If you do have a bad review, they'll look at how did that business respond, and if they've responded in a professional way, it really doesn't do, I think, a lot of damage, sort of there. So I hope that answered your question, Andy. Any other questions? We have a couple more minutes, because I rushed through it in the effort to get you, get everyone out on time. Thanks, Andy. More than happy. Any other questions? No. Okay, well, look, we are a couple of minutes early, which is great. We did really want these to be sort of short and sharp sessions so that you get some good, quick information. Again, you can get your phone out and scan the QR code, and if you have any questions that you think of post the session, please reach out, and I'm happy to chat. Oh, sorry, Emily just came in as a question, which is fantastic. Tactics probably depends on the audience that you're after, and sort of where you might find them. So obviously you can do things like advertising, whether that be in digital or other channels, to drive leads. So that, you know, creates awareness and drive leads. You can do things like create an offer, which is probably a little bit challenging in insurance. Sort of there from an offer point of view, but also, oh, the other one that just popped into my mind, has popped out of my mind. Oh, I think a lead generation too is about, you know, from an insurance point of view, how you're putting your brand out there and how you're doing your networking, and driving the referrals and maybe the referral partnerships that you have as well. So I think lead generation tactics we would look at based on the audience that you're trying to attract, and see where they are, and that, you know, helps drive those things. Penny, great question around brand personality. Can this vary depending on the audience when you have multiple audiences? Yes, it can. However, you need to be careful. So I suppose it's not that the personality changes. Your personality might have 3 or 4 traits. For example, it might be, you know, energetic, expert, and friendly. And depending on your audience, you might sort of dial up the expert and the friendly, but you might dial down the energetic. So, the We Are Savvy brand, we like to be energetic. And sometimes talking to different audiences, we can be really a bit more out there when we're talking to not-for-profit sectors. And sometimes when we're talking to other sectors like insurance, we might dial that down a little bit. So what I'd say is that you've still got the same personality traits and you're just changing your emphasis depending on who you're talking to. If we're talking to potential employees, well, we want this to be an energetic marketing agency, so we, would dial that up, if you like. So I hope that helps and answers the question, and certainly happy to have a follow-up call with anybody on those questions if you've got, you want to have further conversations. Since those questions came in, I'll just leave it another minute, or I can't see anyone else typing, which is fine, and we are 1 minute on the clock, so which is great timing. I hope you really found that valuable, and thank you all for coming along today. Please reach out and have a chat with me, or hopefully please come along and we can see you at our webinar in another 6 weeks talking about marketing as an investment. Thanks so much for your time today.